Hey, what's up everyone, it's me, SpeedSuperSonic, bringing you guys another video. In this video today, we are actually going to talk more about Sonic Movie 3. While news is kind of light right now, I wanted to talk about a future project that is coming up that is actually slowly getting closer and closer and should start filming soon. And before that filming actually begins and we get some like spoilers or leaks by chance, a more definitive idea of what the movie is going to look like, I kind of wanted to give what I think the movie is going to look like prior to this filming, which like I said, should start any minute now. And of course when that happens, I'll be sure to let you know. I'm kind of surprised I haven't made this video already, so I wanted to dive into all of the juicy stuff that I think we could and could not see in Sonic Movie 3. Let's break it down today. Here's what I think, because I am of course the prediction king. I got so many things right with Sonic Movie 2, it's only right for me to get them right with Sonic Movie 3. But before we get into that, I'd like to introduce today's very special sponsor. Let's go! This video is brought to you by HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, they deliver fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes straight to your doorstep. Cut the hours in a grocery store searching for some food for you and your family for dinner, and count on HelloFresh to make the cooking fun, simple, easy, and most importantly, affordable. All of that is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Whether you're extremely busy at work or school, or your family are picky eaters, HelloFresh offers such a vast variety of foods that there's so much to choose from to where everyone's gonna be satisfied. You can customize meals by swapping, upgrading, or even adding proteins and sides with calorie smart or carb smart options. And even if you're not the best cook in the world or you don't know how to cook that well, there's some quick and easy step recipes that'll have your food ready in less than 30 minutes and bursting with flavor. HelloFresh sources ingredients from the farm to your doorstep in less than a week, ensuring that you always receive fresh, high quality produce. Cooking with fresh ingredients not only tastes better, but it can also provide you with more nutrients and a better overall eating experience. But if you do enjoy snacking, HelloFresh has you covered with a range of snacks, sides, desserts, and more from the HelloFresh market. Simply add those to your weekly order and they'll arrive alongside your meals. So what are you waiting for? Sign up and try HelloFresh today for less stressing and more savoring meals, and get a special HelloFresh discount offer by clicking the link in description or using my code POGHF106504 on HelloFresh.com. Thank you once again to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. I wanted to start off with this. There's been a lot of talk about characters, who will be in the movie, who won't be in the movie. Because as we'll get to even later in the video, we're going to be talking about what this movie is specifically adapting. And there's certain characters in that game that I simply don't think will pop up in this movie. My prediction, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there will be no other new major Sonic character added to this movie other than Shadow. That means no Amy, no Rouge, more like animal CG characters. I think they only have the capacity to do so many of them. We already have 3 as it stands right now. Now you're adding in a 4th, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of visual effects. Having another CG character might be a lot. I know there's been a lot of want for Amy, for Rouge, and it makes a lot of sense that they would be in this movie because it is adapting Sonic Adventure 2 in some ways. Once again, we'll get back to that. But simply looking in the mind of a screenwriter, unless this film is set to be kind of a mess, you can only introduce so many elements and build upon what you already have. We already have so many characters in the Sonic Movie 3 that have been in Sonic Movie 1 and 2. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, we can't forget about human characters like Tom, Maddie. I'm sure they'll tone down on that, especially after backlash from kind of their increased role, not specifically Tom and Maddie, but human characters as a whole in Sonic Movie 2 with the wedding subplot and everything like that. That will definitely be toned down. I don't think we'll have a lot of that. But we can't completely abandon them as characters. And then having to introduce Rouge and Amy, is there a slight chance we'll get at least one of them like Rouge or just one of them like Amy? Potentially. But where do they fit into this plot? How do they come into the picture here? There are ways to obviously make it work. I'm sure if they want to, they'll find a way to make it work. But Shadow is going to be such high of a task already as it stands. I don't really know if you could introduce anybody else to give each character enough substantial screen time and character development and give them a proper arc. Even a character like Tails, who was like introduced in Sonic Movie 2, didn't get the opportunity to be as fleshed out as Sonic or Knuckles. Even with 3 characters, one of them definitely got the back seat. And it kind of led to that character being, in my opinion, somewhat underwhelming in Sonic Movie 2. There was just significantly more interest in Knuckles, and when you have Shadow, an even more interesting character based off of his source material, you gotta spend a lot of time on that. I'm not really sure how you're going to be able to divide the pie with having that character and having to build on so many elements, and not even to mention there's a good chance that Jim Carrey's Dr. Eggman will also be showing back up, as Jim Carrey says that he would like to continue playing the character, but That's obviously still up in the air right now. That's not the most fun prediction or anything like that, but in my opinion, that's just what I think, but I'm not completely ruling it out. There is a chance you could see at least one of them, but it depends on how large the role is going to be and how much time it would take away from Sonic the Hedgehog himself or Shadow, who's going to obviously play a massive role. My next prediction is, while this movie will take inspiration from SA2, I don't think it is going to be a direct adaptation whatsoever of that game. Meaning, I don't know if we're going to see Sonic getting hunted down by the police, being a fugitive. I don't know if Eggman is going to have the Space Colony arc in this movie. I think the Space Colony arc could exist in some ways, but will Eggman be utilizing that in that way? Not entirely sure. I think the Knuckles series that is supposedly still coming will give us a lot of answers going into Sonic Movie 3 and will help us a bit in figuring out where the story could be going, and I think just simply knowing where Knuckles is going to help in a lot of ways. You might see a city escape-like sequence, you might see a battle between Sonic and Shadow that mirrors or their like introduction that was in SA2 in some way. I think there'll be a lot of callbacks and references, especially after the success of the Mario movie. I think they're going to try to hone in more on the fan service aspect even more than Sonic Movie 2 did. But if you are expecting a one-for-one recreation of that game's story, I don't think that's what you're gonna get. I think they have to work around some things to make this work as its own film, and also missing some of the characters and elements that have been present in Sonic Adventure 2 not being in Sonic Movie 3 won't help. So I wouldn't expect anything too crazy there, but yeah. This next prediction is also kind of a sad one, but I'm just gonna toss this one out there because this has been a worry and also a thought that a lot of fans have been having and have been asking me in like live streams and stuff, and I wanted to answer this. I think there's a good chance that Sonic Movie 3 will be almost a closure of sorts to the 3 films that we received up to that point. I don't think it will be a definitive end of everyone's story. I don't think it will be a definitive conclusion of the Sonic movies and that, oh, this is the final complete one. But there's a good chance that this may be the last Sonic movie. Reaching 3 movies simply is a big accomplishment for any movie franchise. And if they really pull out the stops with the marketing and the movie is just great and it appeals to a lot of people and it doesn't have that Avatar 3 competition like we mentioned in our previous video, there's a good chance that this could do very well, maybe even make more than the second Sonic movie, and if it keeps going in an upward trajectory, I think there's reason to make more. But if there are going to be Sonic films after this one, I think it will take a very different direction, maybe have new characters in it. I genuinely don't know where you could go after a Sonic Movie 3. If you really think about it, what characters they could add to really pull you into another film. Because after Shadow, if you really think about it, who else is like, oh, I gotta go see that movie because of that character? I think Metal Sonic is kind of a downgrade to Shadow the Hedgehog. Having a movie with Amy, I think would kind of just be like, oh, it's a girl Sonic character. Okay. Reason why Sonic Movie 2 and why I think Sonic Movie 3 will do so well is because their anti-heroes slash villains are not only super recognizable, but they also like pose a threat to Sonic. Amy is an ally of Sonic. Metal Sonic is not as interesting as Shadow the Hedgehog in my opinion. There can be larger threats, but something like Dark Gaia or like Sonic 06 the movie, I don't think is going to happen. You never know, maybe the movies could start introducing original characters. That would be very different, and I'm not sure how fans would react to that, but that could always be a route that they go. My thought is I don't know how you could sell a Sonic movie 4 necessarily. I just simply don't see where you go after Sonic movie 3 in my opinion, so that's why I think that you could see some genuine closure, maybe not deaths. You'll be seeing in a PG movie. You're not gonna see like tails bite the dust. But I think it will serve as a solid conclusion to Sonic's story and to this trilogy of films. 3 films, they did a great job. They made it a giant accomplishment on producing 3 of these things in like what it'll be like 5 years span. That's amazing. That's a big deal. And of course I'd like to get as much Sonic content as possible, especially films in the theater. But don't be surprised if this looks like the final one, because it could very well be. This next one isn't necessarily in relation to the movies, but it's kind of something that I've been talking about in my previous video in a long time now. Sonic Movie 3 will change dates, whether it's by a week or 2 or even a couple months before or after. I'm going to assume after because the movie hasn't even started filming yet. It will not be releasing on December 20th in my opinion. I don't see any movie wanting to go against Avatar. I don't think Paramount would be that dumb to do so. Regardless of what happens, Sonic Movie 3 will change release dates. Also something not necessarily tied into Sonic Movie 3 itself, I think that the Knuckles TV show is actually going to lead into Sonic Movie 3 directly. I think that's what's maybe been taking so long on Sonic Movie 3 specifically. I think Patrick Casey and Josh Miller have quietly been working on this thing. That's my prediction. Maybe while they haven't written every single episode, they've definitely been putting the pieces together to where it could lead into Sonic Movie 3, into where they can integrate elements of the Knuckles show into Sonic Movie 3. There will be direct correlation. I don't think it will be necessary for you to watch the Knuckles show if you watch Sonic Movie 3. I think they'll make it that way to where like you can still enjoy the movie as its own thing. But the show will definitely help out and definitely give you some hints as to what's going to come, whether the show comes out late this year or early next year, or even if it never comes out, which I don't want to say that right now. I think the Knuckles show will offer for a lot of like interesting stuff to come out of the franchise. And also, I think there's a good chance that the Sonic Movie 3 could spin off into a Shadow show. Imagine how freaking sick that would be. Of course, they have to find the right talent to like lead it, because like Idris Elba can like lead his own TV show. Everybody would love to see that. It's Idris Elba. And if they get like an equally large and respected name for Shadow, which I'm sure they will, having him be able to lead his own series is going to be very interesting. I don't definitively think that's going to happen just yet. We'll have to wait and see. But it seems like Paramount has a lot of faith in the Sonic franchise that they have created with their 3 films with the Knuckles show, and I think that why would they want to stop at one show? Why wouldn't they want to have like a few maybe? I think it all depends on not only the success of Sonic 3, the Shadow character, and the Knuckles show as itself. But I do think it'd be kind of weird if like the only other thing outside of the movies was a Knuckles spin-off show and they didn't have anything else to go along with it. And my final prediction I'm going to throw out in relation to Sonic Movie 3 and everything around it is that I don't think Shadow is going to be entirely redeemed. I think Shadow will have a very similar arc that he did in Sonic Adventure 2, but Sonic Movie 2 already did the redemption arc thing with Knuckles, started off as enemies, foes, tricked by Eggman, and then they're best buds by the end. Shadow will not be Sonic's friend by the end of this movie. Will they have respect for each other? Will he help out and save the day at the end of the day? I believe so. I don't think they'd veered that far away from the plot of Sonic Adventure 2. I think the writers are smart enough to know, like, to treat Shadow's character with respect and what to do with him and what the character represents. But it won't be as, like, happy-go-lucky fun time. It'll be a little more dreadful. I think we'll see Super Shadow. I think that we'll see, like, a proper homage to the Adventure 2 finale. Maybe not Bio-Lizard. Maybe not that exactly, but something kind of similar. Whether that's in space or on Earth, we'll have to wait and see. I think the threat will be larger, and then the development of Shadow's character is going to be very interesting. In the way that Patrick Casey and Josh Miller have described writing Shadow, even as early as last year. Sounds very exciting. It sounds like they're going to be faithful. But I don't think he'll die. I don't think they'll kill Shadow at the end of the movie. I don't think they would have one of the characters pass. If they do, great. That's super faithful, and I think it would make for a great arc. But also, think about it. If they do kill Shadow and Sonic Movie 3 does bonkers at the box office and it's loved by everyone, critics, fans, and is very, very successful. Maybe not overtake the Mario movie in box office, that's going to be very hard, but still do good nonetheless. If they have their big cash cow character, a character that did very well for them, who they may want to make a spin-off show of, who they may want to have in a potential sequel if we do get one, merchandise, promotions, etc., having that character not alive anymore is a big handicap. Shadow just might go off elsewhere, will be kind of left open-ended where he goes, where he stands right now, but they're on good terms. I could go on and on about different kind of predictions I have for the Sonic Movie 3, just like smaller things like, oh, I think Sonic will say a reference in this movie. Yeah, there'll probably be references and stuff. Tails will eat a mint. I don't know. There's a lot of really exciting stuff that we could like look forward to and predict with Sonic Movie 3, but I want to know what you think. What do you predict for Sonic Movie 3? As like I said, this movie, the filming for it, has to be right around the corner, as the film is set to release at least in December of next year. So news should start coming out relatively soon in relation to not only Sonic Movie 3, but also the Knuckles show, if that is supposed to come out, like they said, later this year, or some point before Sonic Movie 3. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys would like to see in Sonic Movie 3, and what do you definitively think is going to happen in Sonic Movie 3? Do you disagree with any of my predictions? Let me know. Feel free to follow my social media links to my Twitter and Instagram in the description below. You can follow those mine, live my life, feature content, and all things Sonic the Hedgehog, but most importantly, if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. This is the #1 institution on YouTube for all things Sonic the Hedgehog. Whether it's video games, TV shows, movies, comics, merchandise, and more, we talk about it all. We kind of had like a little spurt of like, oh, we got some news coming, and slow down a bit, but I can assure you guys we got some stuff on the way. It's gonna be very interesting. I feel like a Sonic Central is right around the corner, because the end of this year is still left very open-ended. The only thing we have definitively, like this date right here for something, is Sonic Origins Plus, and I'm not sure how excited everyone is about that, but I kind of forgot it was a thing, honestly. But things are going to start heating up. 2024 is going to be a great year for Sonic. And of course, I'll keep you up to date with every single thing that comes out in relation to this amazing franchise. I love you all so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Wonder what you want right now, wonder what you want right now.